9 o'clock. So, good morning, happy new year, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Community character, let's get started. We have minutes to approve. We have 2 months of minutes to approve today. So if y'all want to take a look at those, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I read through. I would like to say that we approve them.
A second.
Make a motion.
All right, carried, approve the minutes. All right, we can go right into new business. We're going to talk about 7th Avenue parking and signage.
Yep, that was on the agenda from, or asked to be added to the agenda from last month. I don't have any information on it to share because those minutes together on Friday. And a lot of our people have been out, so I wouldn't have had anybody to ask anyway. So what, I guess, since you added it to the agenda, what's your thoughts?
I did. So, the idea was, there is no signage in place. The street is open. It looks great. The intersection at Maple and Lucas is still closed, so I wanted to see if we get an update on that. But there is no signage. So, initially, most importantly, we need to get those 2-hour signs back up so that we can enforce the 2-hour parking, which is the parking situation down there on 7th right now. It is all 2-hour parking. So those signs need to go back up. I guess they can go back up to the new light poles because that's where they were before on, but that is the zoning for that, for 7th Avenue is 2-hour parking. So without those signs, of course, we can't enforce 2-hour parking because there's no signage. That was really the main thing I had about signage. Also the crosswalk. I don't know if there was, there's no signage at the crosswalk. either. I think that should be in place like we have on Main Street, reminding motorists that it is a state law to yield pedestrians within a crosswalk.
Like the one, yeah.
Like the ones on Main Street, yeah. Because motorists are not getting, I mean, I've been observing that. Been using the crosswalk myself and, you know, again, signage is very important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful crosswalk. We want people to utilize that, but we want to make sure it's done as safely as possible. So, so that North Carolina state law signage like we have on Main Street, I think should be at that mid-block crosswalk. For sure.
As far as Locust Street, I called Chris this morning because I drove through, because I was like, please be open. And it wasn't. And I think Chris was going to be joining us anyway. He must have got tied up because he said he wanted to join in on the call. But he said that he was checking in with them. I guess the guy on site yesterday ended up having a family emergency, so he wasn't able to hear from him yesterday because it was supposed to be opened back up by the end of December. And so I'm not sure why it's not. And so I'm trying to find that out because there's no they're not doing anything, so they can just close it when they need to close it.
Yeah, I mean, Harper is off the job.
Yeah.
They're not on site.
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find out what the deal on that is.
Down that stop sign that was there, so it looks like there's closed the intersection.
What's that?
The stop sign that was there, it's not there now, so it looks like it's.
It just blew over.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
tried to pick it up and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing
Oh,
this. Yeah,
oh.
yeah, it blew over. Yeah,
Yes, I don't have the details, but it should be opened back up, and so I'm trying to find out like is why and what, get that thing open.
right. So I'm looking for updates on that, on the lighting, the street lighting. If you have any updates on that, why that's not on, but it has not been on. No, none of the new lighting has been on. So that's that's a surprise. And then also the traffic signal at the intersection there.
I'll see what I can find out on those. Somebody walking in?
Jamie, can I ask you a question? It's Lyle.
Yeah,
Has there been any discussion or any kind of word on the possibility of extending the paving on Locust a little further down the road? They were talking about it possibly having money left in the budget, or they were working on that.
I don't know anything on that, but I can see what
Amy?
on that.
I'm here on the meeting now. Yes, we have talked about that, Lyle, but unfortunately, there's not going to be the money left over we had hoped, looking like at this point. It is on everybody's radar, because we would like to clean up Locust a little bit further and also North Grove. So even though it's not going to happen as part of this, we are trying to find ways to make it happen soon.
Do you have a budget? Do you have a hard number for that work?
We do not.
Okay.
It'll end up going through Public Works. It'll probably get tied in with one of their PAL bill resurfacing maps, more than likely. And you know, 7th Avenue as a whole is sort of a priority on everybody's radar right now. So I'm sure it'll be something they'll be considering whenever they're putting their next PAL bill map together.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Chris, I'm not sure when you joined in, but
Just in time to hear Lyle ask that question.
they did have a couple questions on one about the fencing, and I told them that I already asked you about it this morning. And then the street lighting and the traffic signals. Do you have any updates on that?
Unfortunately, the only update on that is we are pestering Duke Power for all we can. And that's all we're waiting on. Everything's wired up and ready to go. As soon as Duke Power comes out and sets the meters, we can turn everything on, do all the testing that needs to be done, and everything will be ready to go. So, but you know, anybody that's ever dealt with Duke Power knows that they work on their own time, but it's not from lack of us pestering them. I can promise you that.
Well, once they come out, like a day, 2 days.
I mean, once they come out, it won't take them long to do what they've got to do. And as long as everything goes well with testing on, you know, what we've got wired in now, excuse me, it's been preliminary tested, just with, you know, what temporary we could do on site. So a lot of it has been sort of tested. I don't anticipate it taking more than a day or two to get everything finalized.
And Chris, speaking of utilities, it's my understanding that it is still planned for Optimum to come out and raise the cable lines. Is that correct?
It's AT&T, but yes, that
Yeah.
one, the big C900 line that's hanging low,
Right.
that is AT&T's responsibility. They're actually going to eliminate that line and replace it with a smaller fiber optic line. And we were told, well, a good while back, that as soon as they had the material, they would get it done. And then we got hit with Helene, and we waited a while to reach back out to them, and all we got was, we'll be checking with field personnel. And we haven't gotten an answer back in the last couple of weeks.
But that new line would still be raised up higher, closer to the higher power lines. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, everything will be put up at the higher elevation.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Do you have any more questions?
Just the 2-hour parking signs. I don't know if that's Chris or not. If that's Public Works or.
Yeah, what you missed earlier, Chris, and I don't know if this has much, or if y'all had any conversations on it, was just putting the 2-hour parking signs back up. If
Oh,
you have
gotcha.
anything to do.
Yeah, that'll be it. No, that'll be probably Public Works will do that as soon as we're done.
Okay, I'll make sure that we'll bring that back up with Dan with grants.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else while we've got Chris on related to 7th Avenue? Construction? That's good.
How about repairing landscaping? For motorists that have driven over do landscaping and taken
How many
out.
people are driving over the landscaping?
Yes, they are. So I mean, you can
Yeah.
take a look. I mean, the curb marks tell the story.
Oh,
It's been a struggle
absolutely.
for some folks to have to deal with a hardscape when they're not used to a hardscape there. But
Yeah.
we've had a couple planters driven over and plants destroyed. So I
It
didn't know.
actually happens regular enough that we have pictures of people doing it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, the landscaping, we're getting it to the mostly done point, but we've left a door open with the contractor that, you know, it's plantings. We won't really see what comes back in and really well until the spring, because there
Sure.
are certain requirements that the plants have to meet as well. So
Right.
I would suspect is what you'll see in the spring is between the contractor and Public Works, all that'll get refreshed and refurbished and make sure it's nice and clean and pretty whenever the everything starts blooming out. And if it
Right.
continues to be a problem, then we may have to reconsider what shrubs we have or something, and maybe put something a little taller right there at the corners, just so that
Yeah.
people can see it over the hood of their car and remind them that there is a curb here.
Well, I mean, if it makes a difference, there's one planter in particular, actually it's right in front of Independent Roasters, where a vehicle went through the planter. There were 3 hydrangeas planted there, and all 3 of them were, it looks terrible.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
looked like,
if it- I mean, if it's-
that might have been intentional. I don't know. I don't know.
well,
Curves.
it's gonna be a learning curve for everybody, but yeah, between the contractor and Public Works, we'll be staying on it. And, you know, if it's very unsightly, they'll go ahead and do something about it, even if it's just, you know, stick the plants that are there back in the ground, or take them out and just cover it in mulch and come back and address everything in the spring when it's growing and turning green.
Yeah.
It happens on Main Street a lot, but it tends to be on the corners, but those aren't even corners there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be a continual fight for Public Works to keep everything up to par.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Is there anything else on 7th Avenue parking signage? No? All right. You want to move on to old business here?
Yeah.
Talk about 7th Avenue Street Fest. That's still happening. Yeah. It'll be here before you know it.
Yes.
Actually, I do have one quick question on the 2-hour parking. Did you guys extend onto Locust and Maple or just
So as of right now, I just want to get the current parking situation there, the signage up, which is 2 hours on 7th and untimed parking on Maple and Locust. I mean, obviously that's a discussion that's gonna happen sooner than later. But for right now, as far as a priority
Yeah.
issue, getting those signs back up to just so that parking can enforce the current situation, which is 2 hours on Seventh, but parking obviously is going to be, Seventh Avenue parking, it's gonna need to be adjusted in the coming months for sure.
Yeah, because, previously Locust Street, that whole lineup very close to Seventh would be all day parking for people that work in the area. So
Right.
that's definitely gonna have to be addressed, and possibly that little section of Maple going to Track Street. I think if we at least get it to Track Street on both sides, Locust and Maple, it would help with the Seventh Avenue parking quite a bit.
You're talking about time parking, 2 hour.
2 hour.
2 hour limit,
Yeah, just extending it to that,
yeah.
those two extra sections.
I'm making that, I don't think we're ready to do any of that yet, other than just bring back what we've had, just so that way we can
But I
kind of.
think it needs to be part of the topic,
Yeah.
because with the, I don't know how many spaces we lost, what? 3 to 5 spaces that we lost,
Yeah,
that could accommodate
yeah,
what we lost.
Yeah.
We stop people from parking there all day.
And if we get up our 2 hour signs on Seventh, it'll stop employees and business owners from parking on Seventh. Which is what we've already seen. Those are
Nobody
prime-
wants
those are
to
prime-
walk.
Those are prime parking spaces. They're
Nobody
not for
wants to
employees
walk.
or employers. They're for customers.
that many
Rah, rah, rah.
employees
All right,
currently.
You wouldn't think so, but they can consume all those spots.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll check with that. Okay, Seventh Avenue event. So we have not done anything as far as us making any progress on it, because we had to get through all of our event season. And, so I didn't know if any of the seven, I'm assuming not, has met any further on after we met back in, what was it, November and
no, we have not.
No. And-
And I think that where we left it was that,
We were gonna bring Terry into
we
the
need,
next
we need to
meeting.
bring events in, because now we need to start talking about logistics.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, so having whether we need to have a special meeting with Seventh Avenue and events,
what we kind of figured is, and now we kind of have the plans for it, we can move it over to the events team. But the events team is not made up of anybody who, has businesses or anything on Seventh, so it probably would be good.
That's what I think we had also talked about, increasing it to all of
I'm on
on 7.
Oh, yeah, Nancy's on both, but as
Yeah.
far as like business owners or anything.
Right,
like
bringing all
that,
the stakeholders
would you
in.
suggest getting us to come to the events, the regularly scheduled events meeting, or to call a special meeting?
It probably wouldn't, either that, or we can meet down there.
I mean, it would be helpful, I think, to, now that we're talking about logistics and timeline and like, really planning.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were on site, I think that would be very, very helpful.
Yeah,
If
I
it,
do
if
too.
it, I've got space inside the bakery where we can sit and meet after we do a walkthrough, you know what I mean? Or maybe we can sit and meet, put down some ideas, do a quick walkthrough, then come back.
yeah, that would probably be
Or I do.
best, cause it is gonna, a lot of it will kind of depend on the folks in Seventh to help on getting all that together. Who pulled everybody together
There's a couple different
last?
emails.
There's an email chain.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much pulled everybody together, but I mean, this, if we can, if we come up with a date and time that's agreeable, then, I'll take point on that, getting the word out, I mean, via email or in person. Cause a lot of these folks I do speak to in person
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
Do we wanna figure that date and time now, or do you wanna check with everybody, cause we're more or less available.
How much time do you guys need?
And we need to,
I mean, we
get it kind of figured out pretty soon, cause we need to do the event application and everything for
I
that.
mean, I wouldn't mind,
She meets this Thursday at 9.
This is the off season, so like,
No,
do it tomorrow. Like, you guys ready?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do whenever.
So normally events meets on
This means this Thursday at
It'll be
9.
This Thursday at 9. So would you be okay with just moving your meeting to Seventh Avenue this Thursday at 9 o'clock?
You probably,
I can't attend. I'll
You can't do
just
that.
tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too short a notice for me.
All right.
Stuff booked.
How about, next Tuesday at 9 o'clock?
Same as this.
Yeah. I mean, morning meetings, I'll have coffee for everybody. We can bundle up.
that works for us.
Does that work? Tuesday, that would be the 14th. At 9 AM at,
Yeah, this is Diane, and I think I'm scheduled to be at your meeting, Jamie, on Thursday. So is that meeting still gonna happen? Because my part would be to talk about what we may need in terms of logistics to do the Artscape banner reveal there.
I would say probably, I think it would be better to have it all with the Seventh Avenue people rather than just specifically the events committee people, because they're not going to
agree.
have a lot of the information other than like they'll kind of have some feedback on typical event setup type of things, because they're mostly like our event volunteers. So I would say Ben, is that feasible for you, Diane? Or is that, I know you've got some scheduling.
If the meeting is next Tuesday at 9 AM,
Wait,
Mhm.
this is Kristen. I thought the Public Art Committee decided to meet next Tuesday at 9 AM.
That's correct.
Oh, so not Ben.
I don't think I have anything. Who would have sent that out? Michelle? I don't think I have anything.
I can do
Yeah,
Tuesday.
it is
Okay.
scheduled for
I was
Tuesday
gonna
at
go look
9.
at my email, but I don't think we have anything scheduled.
We decided it during the meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
So we could either do our group meeting before or after. Or
Yeah,
10 on Tuesday?
we can just go over to 7.
is 10 too late for you?
no, 10's fine.
Does that work?
So 10 on
I can
Tuesday,
do.
the 14th.
Does that work?
Yeah.
That works.
Yep.
And then if y'all are still carried over from the public art, or y'all could meet. Offering up if Phil wanted to have public art committee meet at Art on 7th, or one of the other places if y'all, so that way, or we could probably open up the depot. I'll just get with whoever, if y'all need a place to meet, if you want to meet over on 7th and don't have an option, and I can open up the depot. Y'all just let me know. Okay, so 10 on Tuesday.
Yeah, and we'll start at Independent Roasters, so make sure that door's open, so that'll be the entrance for that meeting.
Okay. And then you'll talk to the folks that y'all had already
I will.
talked with,
Yep.
okay,
Basically, that's gonna be, Claywood, well, Phil's on the call, so Phil, you've got your invitation. And
Are we gonna include all
Stacy.
stakeholders? Are we gonna go up and down the street? Which
Oh,
would include Kilpatrick and the rest of the gang.
everybody that has an active business, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
The email
We
chain was
need to
pretty much
go
everybody.
knock on some
Yeah,
doors.
I'll take a look
I
at
mean,
that.
I'm around today. I can knock on a few doors in the cold wind.
Yeah,
I'll spread it today probably and
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just spread the
I
word.
mean, all the active businesses on 7th, and
Including the mission too, I'm assuming
Locust.
needs to come.
yeah, so we'll talk to all of them. We'll talk to all of
Okay.
them.
I'll let you know who I talked to first
Okay.
thing today.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, moving on to public art. Unless there's anything else on Street Fest right now. We have a timeline, correct,
for the day.
for the day?
We kind of sort of talked it through, but not really anything finalized. So before the meeting on Tuesday, I'll put together what we kind of understood from what we talked about and what we think is kind
Yeah.
of some realistic stuff for it.
I think it was just the event time. I don't think we went.
Yeah, not any kind of schedule or
Right,
anything.
the Overall time.
Yeah, like the, like
11 to
5 or something like that.
Five.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll put that together, and then kind of walk backwards from there with activities. So I will go back through and look at the notes and see what that scheduling was, but it would be the street would have to close at like 6 when we close for the farmer's market. Okay,
We put together the map too, remember?
Right, we did.
yeah, and that's something that we'll have to look at too, just to make sure that the street closures and everything are.
So we'd actually close the entire street in conjunction with the farmer's market.
Yeah,
So nobody could park on it.
yeah, we'd have to, because there would be no way to clear cars out.
So that's a long time for the street to be closed. So
Yeah.
basically
It-
12 hours.
Yeah, it's either that or we don't have an event like that. Yeah,
I just think people need to be clear.
Yeah, yeah.
Announcement that
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
yeah, because it's gonna like, yeah, it'd be impossible to clear cars out after the farmer's market gets going, because that's,
Yeah.
Parking is like a war zone.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess the only other option would be just to cone off all those spots, but someone would probably move.
They,
that doesn't work.
They'd be like, no, I'm taking that.
For our holiday.
Yeah, all right.
That'll give me a chance to talk to Bridget about the stage.
Yeah.
too, And hopefully I can figure, we can see if that's a possibility prior to the meeting.
Okay. I do want to say, we wanted to do an overlap. I do want to say it was a start time of 12.
I thought it was 12, a 1
Yeah.
hour overlap.
I think we had.
This also has to do with like, if we're selling beer and wine, we're selling beer and wine. And I
Mm.
think you want to be selling beer and wine at 11. I think that's. Hey, try January. Oh, wait, no, this is May.
May 3rd.
All right,
California Silver J. It's a hard Saturday morning.
okay. Public art. Because everyone is on Zoom, I don't know who specifically. Bill or Diane?
Yeah,
Oh.
we've started working on, a policy draft. And that's why, of course, we didn't meet last month, so, I think we're expecting to review that and exchange comments and notes, when we, get together next week. But the initial, emphasis was placed on development of the policy that we could extend to the city.
Mhm.
And I'm happy
So
to.
I'm
come-
not sure this is Diane. I'm not sure, is there someone in the Public Art Project who's actually keeping notes? Because I don't think we've seen minutes or notes or action items for future meetings. Was that Michelle? Michelle's not on this call, is she?
No,
Thanks.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. Michelle or Patsy, so. They've both been kind of driving the email.
I know that at one point I asked Michelle about the same topic and she said, I'm not a secretary. So I don't know that anybody is taking minutes of every meeting. I think Michelle does a recap once we do meet.
Yeah, that's what she's done up to now.
I can, whenever y'all are ready for me, I can start coming to, cause I did see that, draft of the policy and everything that y'all put together, so I know you put
Mhm.
some work into that, so I'm happy to come in whenever, y'all are ready on that. Sounds like it might be, for it. Yeah, I got an email, Patsy's out of town, or text, and Michelle is also out of town. Okay, so y'all.
And most of the time we spent at the last meeting, we went through the extensive spreadsheet that had sort of the important pieces that other cities that were our size had put together. And I thought our next step was to sort of pick the best of all of those, use those categories and try to filter it down to policy that was parts from pieces that already existed. So I would think that's what we'd be doing at the next meeting.
Okay. That
But I guess
sounds
we'll
good.
find out when we get there.
All right, anything else related to public art while we're on that? Appreciate y'all getting together and meeting on that. I know you said some work into it and it's noted.
Yes, we did say a lot of, we can change it.
Yes.
All right. I guess that's public art. The last thing I've got is, so looking through when we were doing our like mission and vision and our work plans, we really had community character as like public space and economic vitality as business, private buildings. And so looking at that, it seems like it would probably make sense for the facade and historic preservation grants to fall under economic vitality instead of community character. So I just wanted to bring that up because if we're talking to people in economic vitality about historic tax credits and all this, that, and the other, that really fits more with the facade grants. And this committee has plenty of stuff to do as far as for the public space, because coming up next after 7th Avenue is, you know, the Coosa Trail stuff, South Main Street, and the whole connection of the Above the Mud project that they're trying to get connecting into 7th. So that's my thought on it. And so I had just kind of put that together. So if this committee is that public space, including like public art, public outdoor area, and then economic vitality on buildings and businesses.
So,
That makes sense to
you
me.
know, I agree. My only concern would be, if economic vitality is going to be reviewing and approving or denying these grants, that from a design standpoint, if that's going to be addressed. But I know that's a big part of what this committee has done is, you know, you're focusing on public space, but also on these private buildings and how these facade improvements affect the character of the district. So that'd be my only concern with vitality, taking that on.
I think that the group that we have on there is pretty well suited for that. And we've got, and I just wasn't sure which committee, knowing that this is something I wanted to bring up, an architect, a new architect at Tamara Peacock's office has asked about joining one of our committees. And so that would be a helpful addition for which, and if that committee is doing business buildings with historic tax credits and everything like that, then it would make sense for that to be under.
For the 2 or 3 of seeing the facade grants written pretty protective of that interest. And we can just keep that focus and say, this is the goal, is preserving Hendersonville. It's historic, you know.
And we have Daniel Carey, who's on that committee, who used to run like Historic Savannah Foundation or whatever, one of those, or Historic Charleston, and worked for the National Trust for Historic Preservation. So he's a good one that can provide more on that. I would say if it were, I would suggest that as we're talking on this public art side of things, murals on buildings, like I think that as a separate type of grant would probably be better suited if we want to go that direction, and I would consider that community character.
Well, and it might be if it overlaps.
Yeah.
Like you could have a combination coming
Yeah.
in on one facade grant.
Yes.
So if it overlaps, you just might have to make that decision that
Right.
this rolls also into
Yeah.
a community character
Yeah.
decision.
Well, not to make things more complicated, but what about having any grants that are pending, at least available for this team to look at and make a recommendation to economic,
Yeah, and those committees meet on the same day.
you know.
Anyway, y'all
It could
meet
be
this
something
morning.
very, very simple, but
Yeah.
economic vitality is ultimately making the decision. I'm fine with that, but I think I would like to look at it, whether I have to go to that meeting or not.
Yeah.
But I think that considering especially the nature of these projects, if they are gonna basically have an effect on public space and privately owned buildings. I think on this committee, I would like to take a look at that.
Yeah, you can have it. I just don't want to have two meetings in the same day, like include the same.
And,
Well,
and like you said, we talked like we want the facade grant to go towards more structural things and less art things in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
If it comes up to it and there's a big art question, we kick
But like-
it, say, hey, what do you think?
The mural thing was a great example.
Yeah.
You know, that was purely aesthetic.
Yeah,
Somebody's like, I want to build a wall, then it's like, all right, community character doesn't need
Right.
it.
yeah,
I mean, we all
windows, replacing
we all
doors.
agreed that that mural was
Right.
an addition to the district. It wasn't
Yeah.
specific. It wasn't something that.
however, creating
Obscure.
rental
Oh,
challenges
know.
now.
Yeah, I think that that's probably something we should probably in both committees is how we can pull that, like murals out of that as its own separate thing
Great.
for it. And kind of carrying on that topic, I think I put in the email that Linda had pulled her grant application, so the discussion from last month, we don't worry about right now.
Right, and I'll just let you guys know what's going on with that. We are still addressing the windows and the doors, but we are, because I'm sinking so much capital into improving the space that Daddy D's was at, I have to pull back somewhere. And so I'm gonna be boarding up those windows and I'm gonna come up with something that looks like shutters to go on the front. So it'll basically look like just closed windows, and Jamie has sent me a couple pink colors, so we're gonna try to coordinate with the Seventh Avenue colors. So there's still gonna be some money spent there, but not the volume that we were looking at. And, you know, down the road, ideally, we'll roll back around. It's just for capital reasons, I can't sink that much money into something we're not gonna be using.
And as far as with the budget goes for our budget, like I put in the notes for last time, I think we can plan for currently about that $12,000 for is what I feel comfortable with that we can do for this year for the foreseeable future. However, the Historic Preservation Commission in the past, they contributed to facade grants on Main Street. And that just hadn't really happened as far, it's not necessarily that they said no, it's just that we didn't really know how to get the money from them. So they have a budget every year, and then they also make an income from the Cookie Caper event that they do, which is their holiday home or inn tour. And so I'm going to make a pitch to them at their next meeting about how much money we've put into facade grants and what all we've done. And we've worked with them before, and see if we can get some to supplement our budget there.
So you have no pending requests right now?
Not right now, but I've got, not counting Linda's, there's probably three that are, at least three that'll be coming.
And my new tenant, maybe.
Yeah,
Still
it's a maybe four.
It's maybe still swinging back around.
Yeah, and so, you know, we approved up to $6,000. So then when we get any of those coming in, we can make that call of, you know, if we really want to push to do more, then we can kind of take another look back at our budget and see where we are. It's just, I know in the past several years, we've gotten grants from the TDA to do for some of our events. And I don't think they're gonna be doing those this year because of expected revenue losses from the storm. And so I just want to be pretty cautious on that.
Yeah, I mean, my main concern last month was, like, the idea that I think going forward with more of these facade grant requests, we're gonna see higher dollar requests because it's the cost of doing things anymore.
Right.
So it's
I don't
like,
know.
you know, if we don't have a nice balance to sit on, we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be easy to burn through that funding, you know?
Yeah, that if we fund them fully, that'll be
Yeah.
2 that we can do. If we fund them partially, you know, if we do 4,000 each, we could do 3. And so that's just a decision on that, which I think going forward, that would be probably for the Economic Vitality Committee for that discussion. on that or for their awareness for it. So we've got some, and if something comes up and we really needed to do it, then like that $12,000 isn't gonna make us dry, it's just gonna make us responsible more or less on that until we see, because if we have another year of rhythm and brews where we have a lot of rain, and we're like, we're not gonna have any for next year, is kind of where we are on that.
Well, I've been saying this for forever, but especially with the streetscape coming to a completion that, there are strategic properties, I'm talking about Summit Avenue district, there are definitely strategic properties that, there'll be a district improvement from improving those buildings.
Yeah.
So not just the side properties or, there's gonna be some properties that are gonna be, high profile. That I think, should take some priority if that's a consensus.
Yeah, but the ones on Main are also pretty high profile ones that would be coming up, like the Jane Asher building, for example. So that's
What's going on there?
they're gonna be removing that front facade and renovating it. They haven't come to us asking for facade grants yet, but they've asked before about information on them. So that's probably coming, and that I'd argue is pretty high profile overall for everywhere.
Is this happening because of new tenants or is it just happening as a building improvement without?
Building.
Without
New tenants. So just have that on the radar, because also like in thinking on, or I guess not on the radar, because it'll be on the radar for economic vitality. But hopefully Historic Preservation Commission will be able to give us a little bit of money to supplement, and so we'll feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Also, just so y'all know, and I'll tell Economic Vitality too, is that they're actually, that project or part of that project is going to the Historic Preservation Commission as well. On Wednesday, January 15th. I think their meetings are at City Hall on the second floor, where the council meets, so meets now. It used to meet. And so if anyone's interested in seeing the presentation on that project, there'll be some information there, and I'll share that whenever I get the staff report and everything on it, just because that's, one that this committee's talked about for a long time before I've been here, and for forever, I guess.
So is Lyle still on the call?
Doesn't look like.
I am.
Good morning, Lyle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I've heard quite a bit of interest in the new construction on your property on the corner. People are very interested. Are you at a point where you can share any drawings with at least with this team, what that building might look like?
It's next to the old chicken shack.
Are we talking chicken shack?
No,
or are
the
we
new
talking
construction.
vacant?
The new
Okay.
construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neighbor. He's going silent.
Lyle, you still there? And the only reason I asked is because there's a
Yeah,
lot
hold
of it.
on. Hold
Yeah.
on, he's re-signing. He's right next to me. He's re-signing right now, and hold on. You got kicked out of the call.
He's going through static. He can't answer your call.
I love the share. I'm not putting them on the spot. There's a lot of, and there's a lot of interest in that project.
Sorry, I'm driving through a mountain.
No worries, he'll be back.
Nothing makes Lyle nervous. Yeah, so in case you haven't noticed, we've got a lot of new activity on Seventh Avenue with new construction on Lyle's property in the corner, and also the Chicken Shack has been renovations and have begun at the Chicken Shack.
Oh, it has started?
That's right.
Haven't seen it.
Oh, and we
So
need
we're
to
very-
invite him.
Very excited. Oh, Brad, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. So lots of exciting new stuff happening on our new street, our new old street.
Our new old street.
Yeah.
While we're waiting on Lyle, do you have any tenants you can say anything about yet?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
loud.
Sorry about that. Okay, what was the question?
So the question was, I've heard quite a bit of interest from the public about your new construction on the corner. Obviously the rebuild on the Chicken Shack has started. That's super exciting. And the new building is super exciting. I just wanted to know if you were at a point where you could share any concept drawings of what that building might look like.
We don't have a concept drawing available, but as I told you and I shared with some other people, the way that the building lays out, it will not be a 7th Avenue address. It'll become a Locust Street address because we're going to have the building face the entry to 7th Avenue. So when you're coming into 7th Avenue, you'll be no longer looking at a blank wall. You'll have glass storefront along Locust and also glass storefront on 7th. So it'll probably consist of 3 spaces, 2 spaces, or even 1 large space. It's all divisible, but it'll be again a Locust frontage. That's why I was so concerned about the street being completed a little further down and the sidewalk, because it's a little weird not having a completed sidewalk and half the building being renovated in the district and the other half being left out.
All right. Well, it's very exciting stuff. We thank you for that, Lyle.
Thank you. Yeah, and what you see now going on is the preservation to be able to protect Linda's wall and her facade, the facade of the exterior of her building, and that had to be done immediately. So that's what we've already started and are going to complete first, and then the building will be built onto that.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Do you have any that you can share?
So, there's a business going into where Daddy D's was. It's called, Bellwether's Landing, and, their hope is to be open, in March, no later than April. It's kind of going to, be a business that works in conjunction with the farmers markets. So some of the products that you might see at the farmers market, they're hoping to carry on a long-term basis in the business location. There'll also be, of course, a little coffee tea. Everybody wants to see that for whatever reason, but more specialty, just, novelty type stuff. And I guess you'll just have to see it unveil, but she is also keeping the back kitchen where Daddy D's had their kitchen area. And so that will be open as a commissary kitchen and also for small party events. So it's going to be a little bit of a combo business.
Market type?
A little more of a market type for the front. So retail on the front.
Okay.
And the back area, commissary and small party kitchen.
But it is a food.
Pardon me?
It's a food business.
It is a food business.
She's a top-notch tenant. It's kind of like an Anthropologie meets Williams Sonoma kind of vibe.
The space is going to look a lot different. We are raising the ceiling up to the almost 12-foot height. So it will get back to a little bit more of the historic look. So you'll get that ceiling height, and I think she's going to expose the brick on one side at least. And so it'll have a much different vibe. So a lot going on right now.
And then I'll give you some other leasing information. So as most of you know, the Chicken Shack's leased. Bradley, who's the tenant, will probably be open by, I would say, March, April, full swing open. And, they're diligently working on that and restoring the building as we speak. And we have 3 really great tenants that we're talking to for the space between M&M and Claywood, and all very, very good quality that will add for sure good, I would say, tenant, how can I say it? They'll add value to all the businesses around because these three different tenants we're talking to will be servicing and using all the services around the neighborhood, the restaurants, the bakery, the coffee shop, you know, visiting the art gallery and bringing people to the area. So it's a good tenant type of quality, I think, that we're bringing in. So we're working 3 deals simultaneously.
So Lyle, is that 3 possible tenants or is that 3 tenants that would co-share the space?
I have one tenant that wants it 100% for sure, that's like ready to go, and I have 2 that are investigating it, and you know, we're gonna pick which one we want. The one that definitely wants it 100% now, we're not 100% sold on that, and we think that the other 2 candidates would be better fits for everybody.
Are they all looking at the entire facility or half?
The whole space, and both, and all of them would be putting an extensive amount of improvements into the space long term. And they're not food, so that's good. It'll help the other businesses.
All right.
And on another bright note.
Go ahead,
Art
Phil.
on-
I can't wait.
Art-
Can't wait to. Go ahead.
Yeah. Art on 7th reopens on Wednesday,
Yeah.
the 15th. And we have a host of new artists from Asheville and the River Arts Wipeout and surrounding areas. The first 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, will be kind of normal activities, but Friday we're having a VIP for the artists and their friends. And then on Saturday afternoon, it'll be meet and greet. All the artists, most of the artists will be there. And of course, for the use, we'll be serving wine and snacks and stuff for everybody to enjoy. So, but yeah, we're it's been a trial, but we're slowly creeping into the launch mode. So we're excited.
What are your
about-
hours what hours are you gonna have after that, Phil?
Yeah, we're opening with winter hours, which is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 4.
Perfect.
And then the two parties will go a little bit later, but that's normal operations will be 11 to 4.
Well,
Perfect. Glad to have you back.
Super exciting, Phil. Congratulations. We're really happy to have you back open for sure. So
Thank you.
keep an eye on Friday. It doesn't look good on Friday.
Yeah, I know.
You know how people are in this town with snow. They don't like snow.
No.
No.
We don't like cold wind either. I thought ice was gonna be the biggest problem. I don't mind the snow, it's the ice, I don't mind.
All right. Is there any other business that anybody wants to discuss on the call or in the room?
Just one thing to have on the radar is that the city is applying for some federal grants for the Above the Mud project, which we've been talking about the last couple of years. I think the survey might still open, so I can send that out. So that's, the whole project to connect Main Street and 7th Avenue, multiple ways with greenway, rail trail improvements. And so it'd be South Main Street and the connection of the trail up to the Martin Luther King Park end of 7th Avenue is the current plan for it. Since the railroad's not available, and updating the boardwalk on the rail trail so that way it doesn't become inaccessible every time it rains significantly. So anyway, that's all in plans. We've been kind of reviewing some grant applications with that. Our grant application to the federal government with that. And I believe, let me just see if the survey is still open. If it is, I'll make sure to send that. It is. I'll send that to everybody. To fill out that survey, because if all of those types of grants require some public input. Everything for that. That's all I have.
So I'm still new at this sheriff stuff. Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, sure.
All right, everybody. Thanks for the meeting. Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
That's right.
What is it? Bellwether Land?